So they announced this game, I think like last year at one of their PlayStation Showcase State of Play things, and didn't really move the needle for anyone. And then it came out, and Helldivers 2 is doing some wild stuff, man. It's kind of funny. I think that this game, it was kind of a perfect storm. It was like Suicide Squad completely bombed, failed epically. Live
Mm.
service, epic fail, disaster of a game. Hardly anybody playing it. Fewer people playing it at launch than Avengers. Crazy stuff. And then Helldivers 2 came out a week later and sort of like just picked up steam every no pun intended, but picked up steam every day. And it was helped out a lot by like it's a very viral game. Like it's very
It's
clippable.
memeable. Yeah,
Yeah,
clickable,
like
memeable.
TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, YouTube Shorts, all
Hmm.
that stuff.
This is how men play and go out. Like shit like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's not that many games that you've never heard of before that are able to go viral that way because they
Mhm.
just work so well in like a short form content format. But Helldivers, I mean, even Frankie was sending me clips of the game, and he doesn't even have a PlayStation. So
Yeah.
even people that cannot play the game are like, dude, look at this sick clip from this game. And it's doing crazy numbers. I saw the most fun statistic that I've seen so far is that I think the maximum like highest player count from the first Helldivers was 7,000, and Helldivers 2 I think is like maxed out at like 450,000 or something. They had to institute a
Jesus.
server cap because they just can't handle the amount of traffic on the game. It's a fascinating story. I thought this would be fun because we just did an episode about Suicide Squad, which I titled, I think, Why the Video Game Industry is like dying or everything wrong with the video game industry.
Mhm.
And then a week later, a game comes out that's like actually how you probably should be doing live service games. Um,
You know what's crazy? So on that Suicide Squad video, the comments were like people agreeing with our opinion on the game, but
Universally positive.
on my video about the game on my channel, it was a lot of people hating on me, saying that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, defending the game, and I was like, "What the fuck are you guys? Like, what are you talking about?"
Your channel attracts the fanboys. I don't know what
It
it is
do.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know what it
know.
is. You just have a hateable face, I guess. Jesus, I'm
I
It's
sorry.
think I
funny.
do.
I
You know what it
saw
is? I don't smile
I
enough. That's why.
I saw that our Suicide Squad video had gotten some comments. I usually don't read them because it's always somebody saying something negative and stupid. And I finally decided to open up the comments, and it was all people writing like full, 10-page essays about why the game sucked. And I was like, wow, you guys actually agree with us, and we didn't even play that shit. So,
It's hilarious.
but
Don't
yeah,
fall for it, damn it. Don't fall for it. Nobody. Don't listen
And
to
that's
us.
what's
We don't know
crazy
shit.
because
We don't
on
play the
mine,
games.
on my videos, it was like, oh, this guy didn't even play the game and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, I'm saying the same thing I said on the podcast episode.
we literally opened the
Like,
podcast episode by saying we're not going to play the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I
But
don't know,
anyway,
man.
this is not about one of the biggest live service flops of all time. This is about one of the biggest live service success stories, maybe ever,
And
considering I didn't even know there was a Helldivers 1. They could have
Right.
just called this
yeah,
game Helldivers, and I would have been like, cool, there's
see,
a new
I didn't
franchise.
know either, but I did see like a clip from the first one. The first one was like a top-down game.
Yes.
And I've seen like some videos about this game, like the trailers, the launch trailer, or whatever. And this is one of those rare moments, I think, where it's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Because for the trailer, I was just like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It just felt kind of weird and uninteresting and goofy. But seeing all the success it's having, plus it's not even a full price game. It's only like what, 40, $50?
Yeah, so this is
Um,
one of the things I wanted to actually start with because there are a lot of
mhm,
reasons why I think this game is succeeding that are aside from the fact that just fundamentally it seems like it's a lot of fun.
mhm,
Yeah.
But one of the things, first of all, because in the live service video game world, specifically very recently, we've had live service games come out for what is, now known as full price,
mhm.
$70, basically 80 with tax. And it's happened with Suicide Squad, and then it happened literally like last week with Skull and Bones
Yeah.
from
And I
Ubisoft,
guess
which is
technically
another.
Halo Infinite 2 is kind of live service, right? Is it? Was
Yeah,
it?
but they dropped it
Um,
into Game Pass, so like, and
yeah,
Xbox
true.
owners don't buy video games
True.
anyway, so
Mm,
typically, but with
Yeah.
like third-party stuff, Helldivers 2 is very interesting that it's a $40 price point, which I think instantly probably attracts a lot of people who've never heard of the game before.
yeah.
Because if you see all these viral clips and you think it looks like fun, and then you're like, oh shit, I want to pick this game up, and you look it up and it's $40.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I can swing that. Like that's not as big of a financial commitment, especially for a game that is designed to get you to spend money after you purchase it.
Right.
To not charge $70, which is my main argument for a lot of live service games,
Mm-hmm.
is like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you charging full price if the point of the game is to get me to spend more money after I buy it? I'm more likely to do
Mortal
that.
Kombat.
Well, you know what it is? It's like if you spend $40 on Helldivers and you play it for a few hours, you're having a lot of fun, you go onto the game's, storefront or whatever. There's a good chance you're already doing the math in your head of like, well, I didn't spend 70, so technically there's like
Yeah,
void math, right? It's like, well,
that's
there's
what I do. Yeah.
$30 that I didn't spend. I could buy some skins and like new weapons and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think one of the other things was the online store for this game, which is something that a lot of live service games have struggled with, is really fairly priced, at least as far as microtransactions go, where they're actually microtransactions, like small, amounts of
Mm-hmm.
money for cosmetics or a new weapon or,
Right.
whatever armor, that kind of stuff, which you can all earn in game. You
Mm-hmm.
play the game. You can get the in-game currency. And it's not, $16 for a new suit of armor. It's like $2.
Oh
So,
wow. That's really
um,
nothing.
as far as microtransactions go, that's what a microtransaction was supposed to be. It was
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
supposed to be like a small amount of money that you wouldn't really miss, but you would get the enjoyment out of, adding some new thing to your character for your online game. And I do think that, I mean, I don't want to hand out too much credit because the reason the game's $40 and the reason the storefront is so cheap is because it's not a major, or at least it wasn't seen by PlayStation as like they didn't expect this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't expect it. They didn't have the server infrastructure. Arrowhead, probably doesn't have that big of a team for a game that's currently doing like it's outpacing Call of Duty and Fortnite, which are like the two biggest online games in the world usually.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'd have a really small studio trying to balance, I mean, a 450,000 concurrent player server cap is ridiculous. That is that is like a problem that has to be invented.
Yeah.
Like Suicide Squad shouldn't be having any server stability issues because no one's playing the game. Like 400,000, like when you have to tell people to basically like take a number, we'll let you know when you can log into the game and play. That's pretty impressive when a couple of weeks ago, most of the people playing the game didn't give a shit that it was even going to come out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I was
Yeah.
talking to you guys earlier, it's just like it's kind of similar to Pal World where it's like stuff like this doesn't happen very often in the video game industry. And so it's a rare point in time where there's a chance that a small game like this that's becoming really big could potentially impact other live service games going forward. But I think one of the reasons maybe that this game's picked up so much is that at least when I watch gameplay, it reminds me of like the good old days of like
Mm-hmm.
gaming when it was like just very simple and just like run around causing chaos and being a menace. But it also reminds me of some of my favorite games, like Mass Effect and
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, and even the Aliens games that we've been playing.
Yeah, because
Um,
I wanted to touch on like gameplay stuff as well, and then some an opinion I have about live service in general.
yeah, dive in,
Um,
man.
I'll say with gameplay first, because when we play our alien game, we do try to coordinate because I was the healer for the alien team,
Hmm.
and in this one there is friendly fire, so you have to be even more coordinated, which
Oh,
I'm
we
not
would
that
fucking die.
coordinated.
Yeah, we would fucking die because of
Yeah.
you.
Oh God, come on.
That's gonna make it even funnier.
And then like,
We accidentally kill each other.
if we do like a like an orbital strike, it's like, yo, you gotta get out this spot. And so that I'm really interested in that because when me and Frankie would play Battlefield, I loved that aspect of Battlefield where it's like this guy, this teammate can give me the ammo if I'm low. I can give this person the health kit if they're low. So
Hmm.
that t sense of teamwork is, really something a lot of games don't really do that, and that's
Hmm.
what's
Hmm.
really interesting to me. My whole thing about live service, I don't remember if it was of you guys or a comment on my YouTube that I was like reading and responding to where I said, and if I said it to you guys, let me know if it was you guys, but I said that I feel that live service is a major issue. And my opinion on that is that considering all the live service games that charge full price and they have, expensive microtransactions, is what it's a huge issue with the gaming industry. And just because one developer such as whoever the Helldivers is doing it right doesn't necessarily mean that live service is a good thing. It's still kind of an issue because even Sony, they kind of like stopped and paused a whole bunch of their live service plans
Hmm.
for the foreseeable future. So for me, my opinion on the whole thing is like live service sucks. It's shitty. I've never been a fan of live service, but if it's done right, hopefully this game is a starting point for other developers who want to do a live service. Say, hey, Suicide Squad fucked up because they're stupid. And what's the team that did Helldivers? Arrow?
Arrowhead Studios.
Arrowhead did something really cool. Let's take their lead and we can make live service kind of a good thing because they're saying it's good here. You mentioned the cheap microtransactions, super cheap costs for like armor and everything. I'm still not thrilled about live service in general, but at least someone is taking this shitty formula and making it good. So that's, praises.
Yeah, Frankie, I'm curious, from the outside, what because you've been, if you're anyone who plays video games and you've been on the internet in the last week,
Hmm.
you've probably seen some sort of Helldivers content.
Yeah,
What
of
has
course.
your reaction been to all of this?
I mean, I'll be honest. It's like I don't. To me, it doesn't. I don't know. I guess I respect the hype. Um, I'm always excited for new games and people to be excited for things. To me, it's just another like it's just another day. It's just another shooter. Um, I see a lot of like inspired stuff from the game. To me, it feels I guess a little bit disingenuous when people say like, or if people are saying like this is a very original game. This is very like set in stone. Like it knows what it is. It knows what it is, great, but the game's very inspired and like very like it's taking stuff from games, and I've
For
always
sure,
remember
for
like that
sure.
was something that it bothered us young guys back in the day, like what was it? I remember when COD came out with like the wall running, completely ripped it off from uh Titanfall.
Typhoon, yeah.
They took they did their own version of essentially Horde, COD. Like they were very notorious for taking things from games. And this game, I'm not saying that it is, but it definitely inspired. Like the look of like the back of the helmets, and even some maybe portion of the helmet is very like Halo inspired slash ODST. Even the name Helldivers, like that, like Hell
And
Jumper
then the
is from
bugs like
ODST,
Starship
from
Troopers.
Starship Troopers,
Yep.
and Democracy. Like that's a big Starship Trooper thing. And there's a Starship Trooper game out there. It's actually kind of okay. It looks kind of fun.
But does
We'll
it have
definitely try it.
NPH?
Huh?
But does it have New Patrick Harris in the game?
Uh, huh.
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm sure the game costs more than to hire him, or it would cost more to hire him
What?
than to actually make the
Yeah.
game together. So, it's tough. Like I want to fall into it. It looks fun. Don't get me wrong, and I do wish it was like multi-platform. Would have loved it. This isn't a game I'm gonna buy a PlayStation purely just to play this game. But if when I get an PlayStation, I will definitely play this game, and I'm gonna play the
So
shit out of it with you guys.
you have your PC is not like a gaming PC,
It's a
right?
gaming PC. It's just
So
it's very dated, so like I don't think it
Mm.
would be able to run it.
you could
Um,
check the requirements on Steam.
I know. I'm not holding my breath because last time I checked, I think. I forgot. It was some game I checked, and I'm like, it should have technically run, and it wasn't gonna be able to run properly on this PC. So I'm just like,
Damn.
nah. I'm like, I don't think so. I'll take a peek maybe. I'll see.
Because my thing
Um,
is, I would buy it given the price tag alone because
yeah.
it's not an expensive game. But because I sent that joke to you guys about Tomb Raider Remastered or Helldivers.
Hmm.
And the only reason why I would go more towards Tomb Raider for me personally is number one, it's $10 cheaper than Helldivers.
Hmm.
Number two, I don't want to get Helldivers if you guys don't have it to play with me
Right.
because they do say you can play solo, but it's not as fun, it's not as engaging. You're better off not playing it solo basically.
Hmm.
And even though we don't have a, it's because it's 4 player, right? So we don't have a fourth, but it would at least still be cool to have you guys to play the game with. So that's why I haven't bought the game. Um, and for me, I can wait on it, you know. I'm not dying to run out and get it. Like, oh, I gotta go get it right now. I have to go buy it. No, I can wait on it. If it was like the new Spider-Man or new God of War, day one, absolutely. But this actually, because we can wait on it, let's say you get the PS5 at some point, by
Hmm.
then there'll probably be much more content to engage in, more things to unlock. They'll probably have plans for even a third game in the near future, near or far future, whatever, given the success. So, I do want to look more into the game and see what I've been missing because I've been staying away from it a bit. Haven't seen any like jokes or memes. I did feel at first, the first video I saw or first couple of videos, I felt a bit like it was a bit cringy, but I want to be a bit more open-minded and look back at it again and not just, dismiss it. So, um,
Yeah, the only comparison I really have for a game like this from a studio that a lot of people didn't really hear of and then put out, what apparently is a very well received video game is Housemarque, who made Returnal, which is
hmm
for me maybe my favorite game of all time, next to like Mass Effect 2. But it's
Hmm.
certainly an insane quality jump from the previous games Housemarque had made. Um, so
yeah.
it's really impressive anytime. And Sony's like kind of known for doing this now with like investing into these small studios. And it's paying off again because I mean, Returnal didn't go super viral. It was a very challenging game, which
Plus,
I
it
think
had
probably
like a bad launch as well with like some bugs. Game was like
people did not like the
crashing.
fact that you could not save the game, which is fair.
It's a fucking roguelike. They never played a roguelike.
But it's really impressive that, to have one previous game or, at least one game in this series and then to
hmm
put out one like this on a budget. Clearly, if they're selling the game for $40, they didn't spend
Right.
$100 million making it.
And that's the
Um,
other thing too. Like when you mentioned like these smaller studios and these other games, like I of course want to see the next game in a established franchise, but Sony did say they're not releasing any new games within an established franchise this year, right? No new Uncharted, no new God of War, no new Spider-Man, obviously,
no.
but we are getting these newer games. You have Helldivers, you got Stellar Blade, Rise of the
Hmm.
Ronin, which kind of 75-25 on that one, but
Right.
75 negative, 25 positive. But I want to see these other projects come out because it's it's different. It's not like, oh, another Uncharted, another Crash Bandicoot, another Halo, it's something brand new. Even if there's similarities, this game has similar combat to that game. This game takes inspiration from this. At least it's a new franchise or a new potential franchise because it could get a
Yeah.
sequel, it could not. These games. And I want to see more of this happening because and I don't know how many years from now when I'm gonna stop caring about games. I mean, I feel like all three of us hardly play now as is. I think I probably play more than you guys now, and I barely play
Oh,
as
for
is
sure.
anyway.
Way more.
I guess considering because my personal channel is based on gaming, and yours is based on film and TV and all that. And even with the amount I do play, I still don't really play as much, and I'm just like, bro, at some point I'm just gonna stop. I guess stop playing entirely, maybe like
Hmm.
that whole Call of Duty thing about, oh yeah, in 10 years, Call of Duty will then be exclusive to Xbox. I don't care about Call of Duty now, so I'm not gonna care about it in 10
In
years.
10
But
years when we're 41.
well, yeah,
Um,
41,
I did
42.
want to say, because I've
Yeah,
definitely
Christ,
been
we're old.
I'm definitely in the Helldivers algorithm at this point. I'm getting a lot of
Yeah.
recommendations. It's been a long time since I can remember going from 0% interest in a game to like gonna get it whenever they fix the fucking servers and like, figure all that shit out. Because I dealt a similar thing like this happened to MLB The Show the first time they put the game on Xbox, and like I paid for like, you play the game 3 days early or whatever that bullshit is. Last time I'll ever do that. And the servers tanked, like completely broken. Couldn't play the game until it like, and it only got worse when the game officially came out,
Right.
because they just weren't anticipating as many people to play it as ended up playing. So I can't handle server shit. Like no matter how good the game is, if a fucking message comes up on the screen and kicks me out, that shit pisses me off. Like I paid my
Hmm.
money, I want to play the game.
Yeah.
Figure out your server shit and then let me know when it's good to go, and you can have my $40. But I've definitely gone from not caring at all about this game to thinking like, hey, whenever stuff is like sorted out, I'm in. This gameplay looks super addictive. I got a couple glimpses of the way that they have set up the map,
Hmm.
and it just looks like if PlayStation and Arrowhead really capitalize on this initial momentum, this is the type of game that could compete with the bigger live service titles. Maybe not from like a financial standpoint. This PlayStation can't just dump all of their money into
Hmm.
Helldivers, but certainly from like a popularity standpoint, the way that the game is set up, where you go to all these different planets, they all so far surprisingly look unique enough where they don't seem like they'd be too repetitive.
Hmm.
And there was some stuff in the final Helldivers trailer, as far as like mech suits and whatnot, that they announced would be coming after launch. So there will be
Ooh.
probably even more continued support for this game than whatever they initially
Hmm.
planned.
Yeah.
But on the point of, how much they've borrowed from other franchises, I don't care about that kind of stuff. Typically, well, one of my favorite games when I was a kid was Darksiders, and that game got dunked on for borrowing from Zelda and God of War
From
and Tomb
everything.
Raider and all sorts of shit. And my response was always like, well, if you like that stuff, then I mean, like, I like all that stuff. I want it all bundled up into one game.
Yeah.
And I think that's what appeals to me is like, there were parts of, was that No Man's Sky
Mm-hmm.
when that
Hmm.
game came out that looked interesting, but also looked kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then there were parts of Mass Effect that I love, genuinely love that game and that franchise. But then there were parts of it that were like not enough dogfights, not enough firefights, like a little bit boring at times. And
Sure.
I think the thing I can compare this to the most is probably my love for Ratchet and Clank, which is just a game that does not take itself seriously at all and is purposely making fun of how silly shooter games are. And as
Yeah.
you know, usually they try to put like a real story in there, but like from a weapon standpoint, gunplay, it's all very tongue in cheek.
Right.
I love that kind of stuff. So the like purposely over the top, go America, defend Super Earth, like
Super Earth.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
right up my alley, like my sense of humor, a game that is like purposefully like they have fucking Terminators and ATSTs in the same game. Like
Dude,
they
now we
know
gotta
what they're
play it.
doing.
Now we gotta play it. I didn't know that. Now we
They
gotta play
are
it.
literally borrowing from famous franchises. This is not a Pal World situation where they hook their wagon to one franchise. They are
Sure.
borrowing from like all over the sci-fi spectrum. Like you like this kind of shit, it's in our game. You like that kind of shit, it's in our game. And to me, there just seems like there's a lot of growth potential for a game like this. When you get a glimpse of the map, there's so much of it that hasn't been revealed yet. So I don't know what their roadmap is for a game like this. You figure live service, they probably planned out 6 months and then
Go go
maybe a
from there,
year.
yeah.
Um, but again, it's like I'm kind of
Cause
curious. They clearly didn't think that many people were gonna buy it.
yeah. Cause what
So,
I want to know about like when it comes to like the missions and everything. Cause you and I, Chris, were talking about Final Fantasy Rebirth, and I have absolutely no time or the attention span to get that at launch and just focus on that
mhm.
entirely. So I want to jump into a game that's going to be exciting with, playing with you guys and playing with friends or whatever. But I'm also wondering, is it very grindy? I mean, it's a live service, so it must be somewhat grindy, but is
Yeah,
the game
probably a
also,
little bit.
chapters, are chapters going to be very long? Am I going to be there forever? Because we hate to feel like, I guess I hate to feel like I'm rushing through the game, but I also, we got things to do the next day. Got to work in the morning. We got to get ready for the next day and everything. But
Yeah.
as long as the,
So,
thing ain't long, or the,
so
yeah,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
one of the things that kind of sold me on it a little more was I was watching I think I can't remember which review it was, but it was I watched Game Ranks' video and then I watched Jake Baldino's like solo channel video on it.
Hmm.
And in one of those videos, he talked about the fact that some missions are 5 minutes and some missions are 30 minutes, and anything in between.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, sick, because one of the reasons I stopped playing online in MLB The Show so much was because the the online games are 9 innings, which like even in a video game, it's like 45 minutes, which I just don't really have that kind of time to sit in front of the TV.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get home from work, maybe you have time to play like one game, like one full game before you like eat dinner and get tired because we're old. So I was really interested in the idea of like, oh, the missions are like different amounts of time. Like I don't have to pick a mission that's going to be like 45 minutes. I can play one
Right.
that's 10 minutes and then
Kind of save a long one for a weekend, right?
yeah, like cause some chaos for 10 minutes and then hop out and, do something else. Which I don't know. I'm kind of surprised because it doesn't really happen often where I don't care about a game coming out and then 2 week or like a week later, I'm like, holy shit, I got to get in on this.
Because here's
Um,
the thing for me when it's like, the time frame of, each mission. Because, when, me doing my whole like going back to my workout routine and everything, my workout routine can go anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half. And that's after I get off work. And if I'm going into the office, it takes me about 30 minutes to get home as well. So, you have travel time, you have your workout time, your shower time, making food, eating. So doing those shorter chapters is more, at least for people in our age group, it could be more enjoyable. And then weekend, if no one's doing anything on weekends, they're free, they play the longer chapters.
Mhm.
But I also am the type of person where I can probably game for a couple hours at a time, but I can't play the same game for that long. It's very rare that I
mm,
can. Like Ghost of Tsushima, I was doing for a while because I was trying to beat it, but also I was just like mesmerized by all the visuals and the colors and everything. But I'm the type where I'll play Helldivers for like 10, 15 minutes and then I'll go to another game and then finish off the night with the other game. I can't sit there for one
Yeah.
thing, which is weird that I
yeah,
have a job where I sit there for 8 hours doing the same thing, but.
but
I
I think it's
just
interesting because Helldivers is definitely like, it seems designed for people who either want to sit there for 6 hours and just play, or people who want to hop into a match for 5 minutes and then go
Hmm.
do something
yeah,
else.
it's a
Yeah.
very grindy game, it seems. I think they definitely did their homework. I had again like much like you, Chris, you had mentioned like I didn't know there was a Helldivers 1. I'm like Helldivers 2, where was the first one? Because this game,
I
the
think the first
fuck.
one was PC only.
I'm not surprised. That's makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things get banished to the Shadow Realm of Steam library. But I'm
When did
down to check it out.
Helldivers 1 come out? Is it like really old?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I
Oh
think it is.
wow,
Yeah,
okay.
let's see. So it's like they did their homework. They clearly did their homework about like what people want. Like Battlefield's like that's not a game that's gonna be done unless you play team deathmatch. But that's
Uh,
a game that's gonna last like an hour.
First one came out in 2015.
2015, March 3rd. So it's about to make close to a decade, 9 years.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, like
Yeah, we're in
the fact
24 now. Shit.
the way that they set up this is perfect for either the gamer that is gonna grind a lot. I don't know what else they have available. I know it is a live service game. I don't know what other game modes they have. It'd be cool if they do like a player versus player sort of thing. I don't know. I've always
People have been asking for that and the devs are trying to figure out a way to make it happen.
and good on them for listening, but also like just stick to what you got and you're doing good. I mean, the game looks like it's a lot of fun for people. It is memeable. It is like it's a very clickable thing. Penguin Zero Charlie like just did an hour live stream of it and he got like almost 1 million views off of that. So the game is popular. The game is there. I hope they can continue this run. It's always nice to see something different and fresh. I always thought Battlefield was the better game. in terms of COD, and people are like, no, it's always COD. Well, COD
Mm,
is meant for one particular player, and that's the fast-paced
Yeah.
player. Battlefield was more the person who wanted the full experience of like being tactical,
Hmm.
squad-based, using like more, I guess, realistic weapons because there was like if when you're sniping you would have to like actually like kind of aim it higher because the bullet would drop
Hmm.
after a certain mile or when so it was really smart.
And
Um,
Frankie was our guy in the field to take out the tanks. Yo,
I was a
Frankie would
tank
take
guy.
out all the tanks. He
I
would
would
run
like
up
to take
on
on tanks.
them, destroy the tanks. We're like, yo, bro, keep going. I'll
I was a
cover your
tank
fire.
killer. I was definitely the tank killer. I love destroying tanks in Battlefield 1. But again, like they always change things up like in Battlefield. So I don't know like I don't know how the class system setup. I'm very we're pretty I think I like I'm gonna speak for everyone here and think that we don't know what the game exactly is in terms of like the setup is. Like I don't know we don't know if there's classes essentially. Or do you want more
I do know
classes?
that there's like a level up system, I guess
Mhm.
similar to like Dauntless. Well, what was Dauntless? Is that the last one we played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can remember with like,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, live service level system thing.
But I
So
will
There's
say,
probably
that's cool.
classes, but I can't speak, but I know for sure there's a level system.
The
based
level
on your
system. Mhm.
the whole Charlie thing with his views, what you're saying is we got to get you a PS5 and then play the game so I can make content of it, and that will get my views and subscribers up a bit.
I guess
I
so.
mean, it's a
Also,
very popular game right now.
I mean, yeah, for now. Let's see. Like I buy into the hype, but I think, hype tends to die out fast. I think it's gonna peak at by probably by March, unless something big happens. Because right now everything that's overtaking the market in terms of this like uh genre in terms of shooting. Which by the way, I'll give it another thing. You can do first person and third person. Like that's awesome. Something that I
Yeah, that's
think
pretty
I didn't even
impressive.
know that.
they did something really cool for in Battlefront for Star Wars.
Hmm.
Another lost game that could have been better but live service kind of screwed it. But there are good live service games out there. Like Apex is good. I respect Apex. I had a fun time playing that. I have fun with Overwatch even with all the controversy, but I get it. I also because I have a consistent squad to play with. Even games that aren't shooting like Rocket League. There are successful live games out there, and I hope this is one of those success stories. And I hope this is a game that it doesn't have to get a sequel right away. Just add on to what you have.
Hmm.
Fucking um my one of my favorite games in 2022 and 2023 was the dwarf mining game, which it's already escaping me. It's called the saying is rock and stone, but let's see, one second. Deep Rock Galactic. Deep Rock Galactic
Mm,
is one of
hmm
I encourage you guys to watch videos of it. It's also technically a live service game. Completely went under the radar. Free to play on Xbox. Fantastic, phenomenal concept game. Obviously borrowed from a lot of other things and lore, but it works. And so I hope Helldivers continues to deliver what it's giving out to the fans. It definitely tickles everything and checks every box that I have. I know I made the little comment about like it's borrowing from everything, and that's fine. I'm a grown adult now. Nothing's going to be original. You got to learn to accept things that a lot of things in life aren't going to be original. Original book, original content. Like it's not going to be what it was once, where we think things are ahead of its time. Terminator was ahead of its time. People have tried to replicate Terminator now. It's not going to happen. So it's all fun and games. I love it. Let's make competition. Let's make some healthy competition. But obviously with that comes toxicity. But I like so far that everyone's like kind of like just like giving the win to this company and developer and to this game. And I hope it continues to move forward in the right direction. Because yeah, I got tired of COD. I waited for the reviews to come out for COD 3, and the fact that it got blessed with the boring catchphrase, like boring, like straight up nothing, like that's a sin. That's a sin for a shooter game that COD got, that label. So,
Yeah.
I took a backseat from shooting games. So I would love to try it out. Hopefully it goes multi-platform. Maybe I'll try it out on Steam. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's cool to see fun stories like this in gaming because a lot of
Yeah.
gaming news these days is just about greedy companies and games not working. And I mean, Suicide Squad had a fucking glitch where as soon as you boot the game up, it tells you you beat the whole game. So
Yeah, that's
I
insane.
mean, there's just so much bullshit in gaming now that whenever there's a nice story of a game succeeding, felt like it was worth highlighting. And
Also, the game
yeah,
plays very nicely. It moves very well. The diving mechanics look so clean.
yeah, going
Very fucking clean.
prone.
You
Yeah.
prone when you're diving and like you're diving backwards and shooting like you're in fucking Max Payne.
Yeah,
Fucking
the
go.
mechanics of the game, again, for like $40, is very impressive. At least just watching the gameplay looks pretty impressive. Yeah.
But that's all the time we have for today, guys. So thank you to the viewers who've been watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think about Helldivers 2, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Peace.